Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Go Ballistic. I'm here with Roger Hanna and we've actually got a developing story right now. Rangers, 49ers Enterprises, the big takeover. Seems as though it's edged another step closer.
Yeah, I think it's agreed in principle. It's not really a huge surprise, Ryan. The 49ers Enterprise is very keen. I think they'll take approximately 20-odd%. I think Andrew Kavanagh, who's in with them, will take something else. There are a lot of Rangers shareholders led by former chairman Dave King, quite willing to sell their stake, and it's what Rangers need. You know, everybody's been focusing on the on-field problems, those home defeats to Queen's Park, St Mirren and Motherwell, but everyone will agree, I think they need action off the park. They need fresh investment, they need fresh ideas, they need fresh faces in the boardroom, and potentially fresh faces in the dugout and on the park as well.
So that's the good news for Rangers fans, that will provide a bit of a distraction from the bad news. At the weekend, another home defeat to Motherwell this time. Barry Ferguson's first home match back at Ibrox. Didn't go to plan. He was talking as well about the fact that he's not had a lot of time on the grass with the players. He's not going to get much more time either with Fenerbahce coming up. When are we going to see what a Barry Ferguson Rangers team looks like?
Listen, he could have time in the grass, he could have time in the plastic, he could have time in the car park with them. They're not good enough, the players. It's quite simple as that. They've cost Philippe Clement his job. They cost Michael Beale his job. Some of them cost Giovanni Van Bronckhorst his job. And I think eventually the penny will drop that these guys aren't good enough. There needs to be a clear out in the summer. You know, there's players on loan like Václav Černý who will go. There's players out of contract like Tom Lawrence, Yanis Hadji you would expect to go. There's older players like Leon Balogun who you would expect to go. Others will be ushered out the door, I would expect, when the 49ers Enterprises come in. They just need to clear the decks and go again.
Yep, I mean, the likes of Daizen Sterling coming back, John Souttar getting closer to a full fitness as well, Connor Barron, but we might not even see them till after the international break now, because it's 2 Euro games and then the big old firm.
Yeah, and listen, Rangers fans will think it can't get any worse after those defeats to Queen's Park, St Mirren and Motherwell. The next 3 games, Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce away and home, and then Celtic at Parkhead on the 16th of March. It could get worse for Barry Ferguson and the Rangers team. And welcoming back John Souttar, Daizen Sterling and Connor Barron, for me, would make a huge difference.
The main difference is, of course, 16 points. Rangers are behind Celtic. 5-2 against St Mirren. Now, whether the Alistair Johnson penalty or no penalty has an eventual bearing in the outcome of the match, but can you find a reason why it's not a penalty?
Well, I was there actually on Saturday and I shouted, "Oh, penalty!" at the time Johnson challenged Roland Idowu. It's waved on. VAR has a look. I'm really surprised. I spoke to Stephen Robinson after the game. I thought it was a penalty. The way Celtic were playing at that stage in the game, I do think they'd probably have gone on and won the game anyway, but it doesn't take anything away from the fact I thought it was a penalty kick.
Jeffrey Schlupp, first goal for the club as well. What do you think that means for him and maybe for Greg Taylor's prospects towards the end of the season?
Listen, I think we're agreed Greg Taylor will probably leave Celtic and freedom of contract in the summer. Dynamo Zagreb were keen. There's been talk of other clubs as well. He's a new dad and I think he'll be starting a new chapter in his life after the summer. Kieran Tierney's coming back. I think there could be a role there for Jeffrey Schlupp, though. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he became a permanent Celtic signing. He could deputise for Tierney, he can play further up the park, he's a versatile player, very impressive, he took his goal really well, and it was a great cross for Yang's second goal at the end.
Yep, Yang, so again, you were there, and Brendan Rodgers has said the reason for Yang getting the goals is because he's scoring off the park as well.
No, that's actually not correct, I have to pull you up for that. What Brendan said was, his girlfriend's here, that's helping him along, and I spoke to Yang after the game and asked him, manager says your girlfriend's here, what difference has she made? And Yang said, she's making my dinner. So that's all it takes.
Well, who was it previously that said that it was the meals that were getting made for them? I think it was actually a Rangers player.
Yeah, Nicholas Raskin.
That was it. He said that the difference that can make off the parks just shows those little things going to make a big difference. Now, moving on to the Edinburgh Derby, big thriller at Easter Road. Best song in football probably, Sunshine on Leith. But for Hibs, are they the informed team in the Premiership right now?
Listen, it's a phenomenal achievement. Jack Iredale got a winner yesterday. He will never score a goal like that again. He can retire tomorrow and he'll be a Hibs legend. But the run they're on is fantastic. I think it's now 13 unbeaten in the league. It's their best run since 1949. It's 15 in all competitions. They are third. They are leading the chase for Europe, and it's been a phenomenal transformation, because the last time Hearts were there, James Wilson equalised in the last minute. Hibs were mired in relegation trouble. There were doubts over David Gray's future. At the minute, David Gray is a contender for Manager of the Year.
And Hibs jumping to third, that was with Aberdeen and Dundee United playing out a thrilling draw. And Kevin Nisbet, 2 goals. We've got a Scotland game as well coming up. Do you think he's put himself in the frame for Steve Clarke with that?
Listen, I think he has, because Lyndon Dykes will miss the Nations League playoff games against Greece. He's injured. Jay Adams is doing well at Torino. But Kevin Nisbet's probably ahead of Lawrence Shankland now in the pecking order in terms of goals scored. I know Tommy Conway at Middlesbrough will come into contention as well, but wouldn't surprise me. I think Steve Clarke names this squad next week. I would think Kevin Nisbet must have a chance of it being in.
Now, before we move on to Kris Boyd, who you're going to hear on everything to do with the weekend's action and probably that Rangers takeover too, this picture here, an unlucky Spartans fan, smacked square in the face with the ball at their game at the weekend. Now, Roger, you've maybe not had one square in the face, but what was the worst thing that's maybe happened to you at a football ground, or the most embarrassing thing that's happened?
The most embarrassing thing that's happened to me at a football ground, probably falling out with managers over the years, or falling out with players. I don't think I've ever been hit square by a ball. It's amazing that the Spartans player managed to pick out a supporter round the game, but I would imagine it would be a sore one.
And moving on, we've got lots of great content on the Scottish Sun's YouTube, and the most recent one-on-one, Derek McGregor with Steve Evans, currently down in Rotherham, a big Celtic fan as well. He's not shy in saying that, but be sure to have a look at some of that interview. It's brilliant. Here's a little taste of what's here to expect before you hear from Boydie.
You met Brendan? Have you been in Brendan's company many occasions?
Yeah, he's an insatiable man. In fact, he sat up in our... the first time I ever met Brendan, he came to watch his son play, who was on loan at Exeter, my first spell here at the football club. And we beat them 4-1, and I sat up to take an advantage point of how that game was going to work out tactically, and spoke to him before the game and afterwards. And since then, there's been a brilliant friendship. First time at Celtic, and then obviously Leicester's just down the road from us. So when he went to Leicester, it was kept going, and we've always kept in touch. And he's someone I could pick up at the phone at any time.
You'll be delighted, just continuing the Celtic theme for just now, Steve, you'll be delighted that he's getting proper backing from the board. And you see the players that have come in, obviously last summer, you see the success they've had this season in Europe as well.
Yeah, listen, he's such a strong character, isn't he? You know, I think he knew when he went back to Celtic, he knew more than anyone in the world that there was a percentage of that fan base stuck a big question mark there, because he left. But that's what happens. You know, if you've got...
Were you disappointed when he left?
Yeah, of course I was. Well, he won every week, didn't he? So of course you're disappointed. He won every cup it was going. He was...
But from a managerial point of view, could you understand why he did it?
You understand the English Premiership. As a head coach, and Brendan does a lot of the coaching, as a head coach and someone that challenges himself, he knew that coming to the Premier League away from the likes of a Liverpool and going to a Leicester was going to be so challenging. So he had to challenge himself, and I think he said it. I seen an interview with him yesterday where it's a fresh interview, I believe, Derek, where he said he was questioned how far he could take Celtic Football Club in terms of from where they were then.
Yeah.
And so therefore, I think when you believe that as a manager, if you get out your bed not only for the money you get, not only for anything else other than the challenge and making players better, making teams better, I think that's why he went. I've never sat and had that chat with him, but I think that's why he went.
Well, we can now head to sunny Ayrshire and join Sun Sports on Kris Boyd. Boydie, we hear...
It's definitely not sunny, I must clarify that. It was sunnier this morning, but not anymore, Roger. The clouds have come in.
I'm quite sure in a few hours it'll be sunny in San Francisco, and it looks as if the 49ers Enterprises have clinched this deal in principle to buy 51% of Rangers. Is that the type of good news the club is needing after another dismal weekend on the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll touch on the pitch in a minute, but yeah, there's no doubt that it's been in the pipeline now for a few months. But you know, the news kind of broke a couple of weeks ago, and you could tell that there was a bit of excitement, which has been a really poor season for Rangers once again on the pitch. But you know, I think that the Rangers fans have got something to look forward to now. You would imagine that it'll be confirmed probably inside the next few days, and then. You know, it would be all systems go ahead of, you know, next season, because there's no doubt that there will be changes. There's no doubt that Rangers have to improve on the pitch, and that was highlighted again at the weekend. But I think it'll be a good thing for Scottish football. You now look at it, and I think we touched on it a few weeks ago, Roger, that Celtic, you know, they've been all conquering, and the money they've had, nobody's been able to touch them with that. Rangers, you just feel as if they've just been, you know, keeping their. It might be one of them. There's a wee wasp there. The first of the year, mate. Wow, the first of the year. I better shut this window. Yeah, I mean, I think for Rangers, when you look at it, they've probably just been ambling along. You know, they've done enough on the pitch, but off the pitch, it's not been good for a number of years now, and on the pitch for that matter. But, you know, Hearts have now, you know, with the Jamestown analytics, Hibs have got investment as well. You know, you look at Aberdeen, Dave Cormack, I think has spent a lot of money this summer. He'll be hoping that they can improve. So for Scottish football, you know, we might end up just with big five clubs back, you know, in a place where they should be. And I think, you know, we'll touch on the Edinburgh derby yesterday, but I must say it was a great game to cover. But, you know, we're speaking about Rangers right now, and on the pitch, again, Roger, I mean, it's no good enough.
Well, you need to be careful, Body, because the Wasps are the only team that haven't won at Ibrox this season. I think everybody else seems to have done it. The 49ers, they took over at Leeds and they appointed Daniel Farker. They used that data analysis to pinpoint the type of manager they wanted. All the focus has been on the businessmen, Andrew Cavan and Parag Marath. They will have sports people coming in behind them, sporting directors, technical directors, whatever. When they look at the current structure on the field at Rangers, I mean, will they just wipe it clean and go again?
No, Roger, I'll be honest with you. I think there is some decent players at Rangers, and they have shown that, you know, in one-off games, and, you know, you think of some European games, you think of the Celtic game. There are some decent players there, but I think collectively as a team, Rangers are struggling. You know, there is no doubt about it. Whether it's the lack of you know, characters within the dressing room to drag people through, the lack of leaders. There is no doubt that there is some talented footballers there. I mean, they're still a huge football club. They're under pressure. They're struggling to deal with that pressure. But you kind of get the feeling that Rangers, well, you don't get, you know, they need an overhaul on the pitch. You would imagine if a lot of people leave, but it's easier said than done. I mean, who's going to take a lot of the players that are at Rangers right now? Yeah. You know, they've already shipped out a lot. There's a few out on loan already. You'd imagine will have to come back unless they've you know, the deals are done that will leave. But it's not going to be easy just to tidy this mess up that Rangers have managed to get themselves into now for a number of years. And yeah, I mean, I think when you go back to, you know, Steven Gerrard's time at Rangers, and you kind of felt as if that was the moment where Rangers should have strengthened and kicked on. It wasn't to be. There has been little, you know, glimpses since then. You know, you think of Giovanni Van Bronckhorst and got to a European final, won the Scottish Cup, and you think maybe can you give Gio some money to go and strengthen? Michael Beale comes in, he's given money to strengthen. The signings weren't up to scratch. A lot of them have come in and left. Philip Clement has probably been, when you look at, he's had money to spend, but he's also had to cut a lot of things back as well. So there's been a lot of you know, factors that have led to Rangers in this position right now. Barry Ferguson and his staff are in the position right now, and you'd imagine their remit between now and the end of the season is just to win games of football until this takeover is complete, and then you know, Rangers will see where they're at. You know, Barry, they might feel as if they have a chance going forward. And listen, if they'd have won every game, put some pressure on. But I think even, you know, Barry and his staff would have had to have been realistic going into this job, knowing fine well that it didn't matter however good a manager you were. this group of players will find a way to let you down, and that's exactly what they've done again at Ibrox. Everybody was coming to Ibrox. I was there myself, and to go and do a bit for Soccer Saturday. I was there for the opening 10-15 minutes, and you could have got it. Even in the stands, there was an atmosphere that you hadn't heard or seen around Rangers for a number of months. But again, as soon as the players take to the pitch, it's the same old performances, and it was poor again. But I tell you what, Roger, we've got a habit of focusing on our big teams and how bad they've been. Michael Wimmer and Motherwell deserve a lot of credit.
They do.
They went to Ibrox and showed a lot of cojones, shall we say? To go after Rangers, press them high up the pitch, stop them playing, but not only that, implement their game style on them, their game plan on them, and go and pass it around them and create opportunities. They had other chances in the 2 goals that they got.
Imagine Andy Halliday captaining an away team at Ibrox to a victory. I know you dealt with him at Easter Road yesterday.
It was absolutely gutted. It was gutted.
You speak about Barry Ferguson's prospects of the job. With the next 3 games, home and away to Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce, and then at Celtic Park, will they play a huge role in defining Barry's chances of landing this job?
I mean, it's easy to look at the big games and say that will be one of the major factors. But you can't discard Saturday, Roger. You can't just totally forget about that. It was another performance where you think to yourself that as I said, Barry was coming home and everybody, the fans were all up for it, and the players going, let the club down again. I think when you look at the next 3 games, it'll tell you more about the players than the coaching staff as such, because it can't always be the manager. Philip Clement's lost his job. Michael Beale's lost his job. There's still a lot of players there as well. You keep thinking that this Rangers team is about to turn the corner, and it never happens. So I'd imagine that even this interim period for Barry could be interesting. And he loves the football club and he'll want the football club to be back winning. If he doesn't get it, I think he can play such a huge part on the football club going forward for a number of reasons. Philip Clement might have gave his reasons to the board and why it's not performing. But if another manager comes in and says the exact same things or things need to change, you would like to think that the board would take that on board and act on that from what's going on not only on the pitch, but I've said this before. I don't think the training centre everybody's pulling together. I don't think Ibrox everybody's pulling together. And if you're going to be a successful football club, you need every single person pulling in the same direction, and that's not only just on the pitch. So as I said, I think Barry can play a huge role. And if he doesn't get the results that allows him or gives him the opportunity to be the Rangers manager long term, I still think he will. He'll be man enough to stand there and explain why and what's going on behind the scenes. But it's not going to be 2 easy games. Well, the next 3, sorry, but the next 2 against Fenerbahce, obviously able to beat Antalyaspor at the weekend and close the gap in Galatasaray at the top of the Turkish league. So they're coming. Rangers will go to Istanbul. It'll be a hostile environment. It's going to be a difficult game. It'll be interesting to see what Barry does. Obviously, said John Souttar's back, Balogun come on at the weekend. I think that has to be a central pairing. Robin Proper, NCL got the brunt of it last week, or last Wednesday night. Robin Proper is miles off it and has been for a period of time now. Yes, James Tavernier went into centre back at Kilmarnock, but I think in the heat of the moment when the game's already started, it's an easier thing to do is move from that right hand side in there. And but the weekend it didn't work. I think the Yilmaz and the right hand side, and I know it's worked against Celtic in the past, but the balance was all wrong for Rangers, especially the way that Motherwell set up. With the 2 left-footed players on that right-hand side, Motherwell had a load of bodies in the central area of the pitch, and every time Rangers, came in the pitch, you just felt as if they were running into bodies. So I would imagine that it will be Souttar and Balogun at centre back, and James Tavernier will take up his role on the right-hand side. But Roger, I don't know how many times we've said it. Rangers players, that they can blame managers, coaches, and we've all sat here and go and said about tactics and everything as well. You just kind of get the feeling that that Rangers players just need to go and show that playing for the football club means a lot to them. And some of them right now, that doesn't seem to be clear.
I'd actually forgotten you were blethering there about Fenerbahce and Antalya Sport and Galatasaray. I had forgotten you were a leading expert in the Turkish league after your...
Anything you want, mate.
Eskişehir Sport, is that right? Am I saying that right?
Eskişehir Sport.
Did you get to check?
I don't think it's a format to speak about that type of thing, friend.
Okay. Well, what a day it was for Rangers. You left at 3:15 to go to the Celtic game. That's how bad things are at Ibrox. I saw you at the Smize, a terrific game of football. Celtic winning 5-2, and a bit harsh in St Mirren. They might have had a penalty. They contributed greatly to the game.
Nothing about might. They should have had a penalty. It's a stone wall.
Celtic substitutes Yang and Luke McCowan. What a difference they made.
Yeah. I mean, I think Celtic never really got out of second gear, to be honest, Roger. You kind of felt as if they really wanted to up it, and that's exactly what they've done when the substitutes come on. Jota and Yang and McGowan came on, and it did. They lifted Celtic a little bit. I thought Daizen Maeda was poor again, to be honest. But it was, and I know people will look at the final score. It was 5-2, and everybody speaks about the penalty incident, but that was at 3-2. It was a huge call. It was a huge call that wasn't made. And I think that Stephen Robertson, he came out after it. He never really challenged, it much, because he would end up himself in trouble because of it. But I mean, it's a stonewall penalty, probably verging on a red card as well. In terms of where the foot went, it was above the ankle. So. Celtic got away with one there, and that's not to say they wouldn't have won and won the game. But I would like to have seen the outcry if it was the other end of the pitch, that's for sure.
Daizen Maeda now 26 goals for the season. He took his goal really well. I agree with you. Ida well off the pace. Celtic looked a lot better second half. Nicholas Kuhn's beginning to get off the pace as well. But when you can throw on Jota and you can throw on Yang, and Yang's in form like that, there's still goals in that Celtic team. Back to back goal finishes.
I think when you look at Celtic, and even if Nicholas Kuhn, you could argue, has done his part at the start of the season and got Celtic to where they are in a number of fronts. And he's still taking the ball and still trying to make things happen. But because of maybe Jota since he's arrived, and he's shown how the quality that he's got. Maeda, I mean, Roger, his goal's unbelievable. For someone that you don't really think he's not really that type as such, but we're now seeing it more often. I mean, whether it's a confidence, but I've got to be honest, I like him through the middle. I do. There's the defences will drop off because they're terrified of his pace. You can see it in the wide areas as well. Alabius at the weekend really struggled to deal with him. He's direct, but he was composed. As soon as you got the other side of that St Mirren defence at the weekend, composed and rolled it past Zach Hemming in the goal. Really, really top finish. And 26 goals, Roger, is some return. It is some return. I was one of the ones that thought that they would miss Kyogo. Listen, Kyogo might have scored more goals and Celtic might have won games more comfortable, whatever, we don't know. But Maeda has definitely taken up that role, mantle, and moved through the middle and created chances. And it'll be interesting to see now, what Celtic do in the summer. And I know they will bring out a striker, but when you look at Maeda and what he brings to the team, I mean, it's outstanding. And also, you look at Engels dropping back into that central role as well. And I know, obviously, Brendan Rodgers decided to take off Callum McGregor, but Engels looked a lot more composed in there as well, getting on the ball and making things happen. So, for Celtic, Schlupp on the left-hand side as well, I thought had a decent enough game. Good strike. Yeah, good strike. But, the 5-2, it probably, it was a little bit harsh in St Mirren. But there's still a chance at top six as well, St Mirren.
Very much. It'll be some game on Sunday, probably the pick of the Scottish Cup quarter-final. Celtic, the holders, back-to-back 5-goal performances at home to this Hibs team. 13 unbeaten in the league, the best run since 1949. 15 unbeaten in all competitions, including that win over Celtic at Easter Road. It'll be.
Did you
it'll be a
cover those
couple-
games?
Yes, I did. Aye.
Yeah.
It was good.
Were they
Yeah, I did
impressive?
did the quotes after the game. Very, very impressive. Good talkers back in 1949.
That's good.
Uh-huh. On Sunday, Hibs will go brimful of confidence after that derby win against Hearts yesterday. You were at Easter Road.
Yeah, they will, but and I know they've beaten Celtic, a couple of weekends ago, or last weekend, sorry, but Celtic Park's just a different animal altogether. It'll be interesting to see what David Gray does. I know he's been the 3-5-2. Does he try and adapt it, to be more solid? Because you look at the way they got a really good performance against Celtic at Easter Road a couple of weeks last week. Sorry, they were aggressive in the press. They got after them. They stopped them playing. Everybody performed well that day, and you're going to need a bit more, I think, going to Celtic Park. You're going to need everybody else to perform. Everybody to perform, a level up from what they did at Easter Road. You're going to need Celtic to have an off day. And I think Brendan Rodgers now, because of where they're at, he will want to complete the treble. They'll be full focused. I don't imagine Celtic will be, he spoke about the squad in terms of the amount of games they've had recently. But come the weekend, Celtic will have the full team out, and want to take care of Hibs. And I think by them doing that, we'll pay the respect to Hibs that they deserve, because they've been on a terrific run. I thought yesterday, the first half, they started, obviously got a good goal to start with from their point of view. Terrible defending from Hearts, but Hearts then get the goal back, and for the next period up until half time, I felt as if Hearts were in total control of the game. They never really created many chances, but you felt as if they were dictating the game at their pace. They were controlling the game. Hibs were all over the place, couldn't really get to grips with them. But you've got to give David Gray a lot of credit at half time, because after the whistle was blown for the start of the second half, Hearts just looked like a team that was actually shell shocked, didn't know what had hit them, and Hibs moved the ball a lot quicker, got it in the wide areas. 2 Caddens, I thought were terrific again, balls into the box. But we touched on it yesterday on Sky as well. Hibs, the way Boyle plays and Bowie, and I know Gale come on and Hoylett, but there's Gale more so towards the end. Will get himself in and around that area. But even with Hibs forcing Hearts back, when it was getting cleared, they were picking up the second balls round about the areas where they could cause problems. And you look at the second goal, what a strike that was.
A great goal. He'll never score another like that, Jack Ardale. Well done to him. Later in the day, Aberdeen 2, Dundee United 2. United were ahead. Kevin Nisbet, a couple of goals at the end. What it does do, Hibs 3rd, Aberdeen 4th, United 5th. Are they cemented in the top 6 with 4 games to go before the split, do you think?
I think they will be. I think they will be. There's because there's so many teams, in that little mini league, shall we say. I think St Mirren, Ross County, Hearts, Motherwell are probably in a little bracket now where, because they're playing each other on that as well, Roger. It's going to be difficult for them all to pick up points to allow them to for 2 or 3 of them to go and overtake, say maybe Dundee United or Aberdeen. I think the game at the weekend was huge for a number of reasons. Obviously, Hibs got onto 3rd place, but you then look at it. If Hearts had won the game, they went a point behind. Hibs with them coming to, if they both get into top 6, what you'd imagine would have happened if Hearts had won. They're a point behind. It may have been something different when they came to Tynecastle later in the after the split. But Hearts would have had home advantage as well. So it's a huge 3 points for Hibs, and they deserved it. But you're right. I think that Aberdeen are probably weathered or sorted out their terrible run, albeit. Obviously drawing the game yesterday, but as you say, that late goal get them back into it. Dundee United, I think, will have enough just to get in there. Their games, you could see them picking up some points. Yeah. But then after that, it could be, it's obviously going to just be with the one from St Mirren, Ross County, Hearts and Motherwell, but it's so tight. And then, that's a league in its own. And I'm afraid to say, Roger, I think my old team, Kilmarnock, are getting pulled in towards a relegation dogfight now with Dundee and St Johnstone.
I was going to say that to you. It was a tricky weekend. I didn't actually see the Eskishiri Sports score, but Rangers beaten and Kilmarnock beaten 1-0 at County. I don't really want Killie to
I think Middlesbrough won though.
Well, there you go.
Nottingham
Another
Forest could win
5 minutes
tonight.
up.
Nottingham Forest could win tonight. It might end up a good weekend.
What about the Portland Timbers? Are they still pre-season?
They won 1-0 as well.
There you go. I take it back. But Kelly, I can't afford them to get sucked into a relegation fight. Rugby Park's handy for me, Boydie. Give me confidence that they're going to get out of this.
Well, I think obviously Dundee and St Johnstone drawn at the weekend. But you look at Kilmarnock. I mean, they've Hibs up after the cup a week, well, not next weekend, but the following. Yeah. Then they go to, I think, did they go to St Mirren as well? They usually do okay there, but it's going to be another difficult game with St Mirren pushing on to get out top six. Then they've got Motherwell, where they should have beat them at Rugby Park early in the season. I think they ended up drawing that night. And then they finish at Celtic before the split. So, I mean, it's 3 very, very difficult games for Kilmarnock. But I'm sure, I mean, Derek might be looking at it thinking if he can go and get 9 points from the next 3, you just never know because with the rest playing each other. But I do think that the top 6 is a big ask for Kilmarnock now. And, as crazy as this sounds, it might see the one of that, St Mirren, Ross County, Hearts and Motherwell, whoever gets that top 6 spot will just be absolutely delighted because, I mean, if Dundee and St Johnstone now have just to nick a couple of results somewhere, all of a sudden it's back together and anybody can win a relegation dogfight. Yeah. So it was a big weekend. It was a big weekend. I mean, if St Johnstone had won at Dundee, wow. I mean, it would have been really tight. But I think for Kilmarnock now, having been looking up the way, after 30 minutes against Rangers on Wednesday night, you're now saying to yourself, you need another couple of wins just to get away from that 11th spot. And Dundee, I think they've got a Dundee derby coming up as well. And they've done okay in them this year. So, Dundee and Tony Dock will fancy themselves to pick up a few points and then they'll all play each other in that bottom 6 as well.
Boy, that's great.
And even by the way, even the bottom of the Championship's hotting up.
In what way?
In what way? Obviously, Falkirk dropping points at the weekend.
Oh, the top end. Yeah. Levy dropped points Friday night. Big win for Ayr, Curtis May and a couple of goals.
Can we get an Ayrshire derby in the playoffs?
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. United, how confident would you be?
Oh, very, very.
Really?
Very confident.
You and I would need to do a kick-off for them on the pitch at Somerset.
Very, very confident.
You with a Kelly scarf, me with the Ayr scarf on, it would be great.
Oh, is that you out yourself as an Ayr fan now?
Ever since 1949 when I did that Hibs game and I didn't like
it. you just fell in love with the club.
Your neighbour David Smith's got me involved, you see.
He's done well, I must add. He's done well. I think Scott Brown and his team have done excellent as well, but David Smith deserves a lot of credit for what he's done and even the new stand as well. So it's tight there. I mean, I watched the Livingston game Friday night. Didn't really start the game well, finished it strong. I had a chuckle to myself though, with Davey moaning about the pitches. I didn't know there was pitches in the clouds. Wow.
Hey, summer. What about Mark Wilson, Brian Graham? What were their chances of getting the Thistle job permanently?
Well, I was actually impressed with the way they, for 60, 70 minutes against Livy on Friday night. But, Thistle, I mean, it's a difficult club though. You kind of look at it and they're fourth, and you think to yourself, why did Chris Doolan get sacked? I mean, I didn't feel as if they were going to catch the ones above them. Yeah, there was a couple of bad results that probably led to it. But listen, you never know in football. There was some decent positives to take from the performance on Friday night, but I'm sure Matt Wilson and Brian Graham will be looking for a little bit more just when you got to that latter stages just to see the game out. But it's going to be an exciting end to the top 6, the bottom of the Premiership, and then obviously the top of the Championship. I look forward to it.
Excellent. I'll let you go and deal with that wasp, Boyd. It sounds as if it's just shut a door. I will see you soon.
That's me, got my job's done there.
Take care.